Our precious time and being a part of this conclave to acknowledge the World IP Day, which is organized by markpatent.org, co-organized by Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, Xavier's Research Foundation, LD College of Engineering, ICFL Law School Hyderabad, Gujarat Technological University and Institute of Law, Nirma University. Sponsored by HK Acharya and Company, Waste Venture Eco Private Limited and Renzel Eco. So, before initiating our sessions, let us remember Ma Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, the lightening of the land, and wishing this conclave to be a successful one. May I invite Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya, Mr. Omkar Acharya, Mr. Padmin Bhuj, Mr. Prashant Gandhi, and Ms. Neelam Gadani for lightening of the land. Thank you so much. For next few hours, may I please request all our distinguished attendees to kindly switch off their cell phone so that we can enjoy the seminar with full freedom. Let us make World IP Day more meaningful by engaging and sharing creative ideas, knowledge with our peers from the industries pertaining in the field of intellectual property rights and give this world something unique for better life. This seminar will have a series of sessions which gives flavor to the remarkable diversity in the subject matter of intellectual property rights. Moving forward, may I please welcome our dignitaries, Executive Director and Managing Trustee at markpatent.org, Mr. Omkar Acharya, Senior Advisor and IPR Domain Expert, Mr. Padmin Bhuj, Founder and Partner of Siddhi Group of Companies, Mr. Prashant Gandhi, Patent Attorney and Head of Patent Division at HK Acharya and Company, Ms. Neelam Gadani. To welcome Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya, may I request Mr. Nirav Parikh to present him with a bouquet of flowers. I request Ms. Pooja Acharya to present a bouquet of flowers to Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya. To welcome Mr. Padmin Bhuj, Senior Advisor and IPR Domain Expert, may I request Mr. Ketan Bhatt to greet you with a bouquet of flowers. To welcome Mr. Omkar Acharya, Executive Director at HK Acharya and Company, may I request Mr. Anas Qureshi to greet him with a bouquet of flowers. I would like to request Mr. Kunal Dalsania to present bouquet of flowers to Mr. Prashant Gandhi, Founder Partner of Siddhi Group of Companies. I would like to invite Ms. Kinjal Shah to present flowers to Ms. Neelam Gadani, Patent Attorney at HK Acharya and Company. I once again heartily welcome you all. So now I request Ms. Neelam Gadani to welcome our guest, Ms. Neelam is a patent attorney and holds a bachelor qualification in biochemistry, a master's degree in biomedical technology, and a bachelor degree in law from Gujarat University. She indexed patent applications, litigation, and prosecutions, detailing conclusions on patent issues for national and international clients. She is likewise engaged with investigation of patentability of new inventions, rendering opinions, as well as looks after the issues identified by the license. She has also attended various seminars at national and international levels on intellectual property rights. So now I request her to address our guest.
Thank you, Jayashree, for a kind introduction. Good morning, all. On World Intellectual Property Day, on behalf of the organizer, markpatent.org and the co-organizer LD Engineering College, Xavier Research Foundation, Institute of Law, Nirma University, Gujarat Technological University, Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India, and ICFAI Law School, Hyderabad. I am pleased to welcome you all on another flagship seminar on IP, that is IP and Youth, Innovating for a Better Future. Intelligent species on planet Earth, Homo sapiens, humans. Hence, there is a creation of human minds, and the interests of these creators are protected under the various IP laws. Intellectual property transforms every facet of the society. It brings tremendous promise to improve our lives and the world will live in. Having vision that IP will be the part of global leadership and a mission to deliver best IP class solution, markpatent.org was founded by Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya. In order to lay the platform for the interaction of IP experts among the world, international seminar was started in the year 2004 with the theme Nuts and Bolts of Patent. I would like to take an opportunity to give a brief glimpse of these seminars and the topic covered. The impacts of cutting-edge technology on businesses and activities dealt in accelerating growth of IPR, the global village. A success formula was given in IPR, a formula for success. The cash flow was influenced in the seminar like IPR, knowledge flow influenced cash flow. IPR, a blueprint for knowledge capital, shed light on the trends in innovations. Because of the outbreak of Corona, several webinars were also conducted on various benchmarking themes. એવું કહેવાય છે કે જીવનમાં ઘડતર અને મકાનમાં એનું જણતર ખૂબ જ મહત્વની વસ્તુ છે. It believes that you should be involved in decision making that will affect them. Youth are the futures. Indian National Youth Policy provides holistic vision for the youth of India, which is to empower youth of the country so that they can achieve their full strength, and by doing so, India will find its place among the communities of nations. One of the primary objects of this policy is to promote entrepreneurship so that the entrepreneur or the youth can be the part of Indian economic development. To realize full potential, youth needs support from individuals, organizations that will share their knowledge, skill, and experience to learn, share, and live. This seminar will help them to identify strategic use of IPR. The act of taking first step is what makes a difference. I would like to welcome our speaker, Mr. Parveen Guj, Senior Advisor, Project and IPR Domain Expert, who is with markpatent.org when the organization took the first step. I would also like to welcome Visionary Trustee of markpatent.org, Mr. Omkar Acharya, and our motivator, Mr. Prashant Gandhi, a founder and partner of City Group of companies. Success in the life is a result of futuristic vision. The futuristic vision is the result of good judgment, and the good judgment is the result of experience. Well, on that note, I would like to welcome our panelist, Mr. Abhishek Gupta, Managing Director, Honest International Food Private Limited, Mr. Nisek Pandya, CEO and Founder, Drivebuddy AI, Ms. Nija Bhanti, President, Vadila International Private Limited, to share their success, good judgment, and of course their experience. I would also like to welcome Ms. Pooja Acharya, Technical Director, HT Acharya Company, who is the moderator for the panel discussion. I would like to welcome Ms. Karina Manya, Director of International Division, HT Acharya Company. It is my pleasure to welcome all the attendee delegates, sponsor, Rainser Equa Solar Panel Washerman, Wish Nature Eco Private Limited, and media personnel to attend this conference. I am eagerly anticipating for the excellent event. I am pretty much sure that this seminar will be stimulating and productive. Personally, I hope that you will all enjoy it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. The thought-provoking welcome address sets a perfect platform for our speakers to deliver the presentations in the areas of intellectual property. Now, I am much delighted to introduce you all Mr. Padmekut, who is a national level IPR domain expert, presently a senior visiting faculty with Entrepreneurship Development Institute of India. He is also project and management advisor. He holds about 30 years combined experience of intellectual property rights, corporate industry, project management, entrepreneurship development and academics. Mr. Bhuj, as the managing director of JITCO, established the patent cell at JITCO. He received the GTO Pedagogical Award for the contribution in the IPR in the year 2013. Recently, in the year 2018, he was conferred with the prestigious IP Samaritan of the year 2018 award by IPPO. On the official work, he visited Japan, China, USA, France, Hong Kong, Indonesia, Guyana, South Korea, Taiwan, and all India. He has completed BPharm, MBA, CMC, PG Diploma in Patent Law from Nalsar University, Hyderabad. We are glad to have you here today for sharing your wisdom of thoughts with us upon intellectual property rights. I kindly request you to share your views with us.
Thank you for the kind introduction. I am so happy that my better half is also here today. એટલે આ ઇન્ટ્રોડક્શનનું મહત્વ બધે વધી જાય છે. Anyway, look, I am part of this organization. When somebody introduced me in a formal manner, I feel bit awkward. After that, I still feel bit awkward. First and foremost, thanks for inviting me, and compliments to Omkar, Pooja, and the entire team for organizing such a nice interactive meet. I was telling that હું તો હવે બોલવાનું બરાબર ફોર્માલિટીમાં right? But somebody like Prasan, who is a practitioner, and the panel particularly, I am so excited to waiting for the panel. This is the theme of the today's World IP Day, youth and startup kind of thing. So we are all looking forward to that panel discussion also. Can I have my presentation? And yeah, thank you. Look, I am going to focus a little bit on the what we call why IP is important for the startups. Okay. And the theme is, can I have a color like this? થોડી વાર અહીંયા ઉભા રહેવાનું, ફોટો પડી જાય પછી કરવાનો. ગુજરાતી જાણે છે બધા? ગુજરાતી કોણ નથી જાણતું? ગુજરાતી કોણ નથી જાણતું? I'm so happy. I am going to speak in a language which we can understand, don't worry. But I thought once in a while Gujarati બોલે તો મને ચાલે જાય. Okay, fine, thank you. Right. Startup perspective. No, when I say startup, it encourages the entire fraternity, by the way. All enterprises. Startup is a new word. In fact, I am attached with India, Enterprise Bureau of India. Dr. Sunil Sukla was भाई ये स्टार्टअप आ गया, एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कुछ रहा नहीं क्या? मैंने बोला नाम बता दो, स्टार्टअप इंस्टीट्यूट. But every startup is an entrepreneur, by the way. Okay, so when we talk about startup, it's an entrepreneur fraternity. And why IP is important? Why we have to talk about IP when we talk startup? Because half of the startup, they do work in IP, but they don't make the use of IP. That is the idea basically. Can you switch on this light? Anyway, intellectual property. हिंदी में पाठक को ये सब very अच्छा वर्ड है, बौद्धिक संपदा. जरा भारी भरकम शब्द है, और भारी भरकम शब्द का इम्पोर्टेंस रहता है. The present Controller General, Dr. Undar Pandit, he was earlier with us. He was in Ahmedabad. Very fine, distinguished person. He used to talk. ये बौद्धिक संपदा शब्द कैसा लगता है? He used to ask me. मैंने बोला बहुत भारी भरकम लगता है. But it is a very excellent meaning. It's an asset, and that's what we want to emphasize. It's an asset. Just like building, just like machinery, intellectual property is asset. That message has to go to the startups. And that's what our basic idea is when we create an intellectual property. Look, it is like this. If you see the balance sheet of the progressive companies, including some of the startups in a country like USA, and of course, a country like, we talk about USA, but we must talk more about Israel and South Korea, by the way. People who know, some know Professor Spider better in Israel, right? South Korea and Israel. South Korea is the size of a state like Gujarat and Karnataka. It's a state. We talk not about Israel, but we don't talk about South Korea. We have been doing a lot of work for South Korea. It's a country to take example. They are doing tremendous work, but they are not announcing to that extent. Okay, at least in our country. Now, what if you see the balance sheet of the startups, entrepreneurs, good companies in these countries? For a period of time, the balance sheet doesn't show much increase in the creation of assets like building and machineries. They do invest. But if you see the later pages, you see the assets in the terms of intangible assets which are patents, design, registration. It goes on increasing and increasing. And you know, the patent valuation is only here to stay. You value those patents, hundreds and thousands of patents, and you realize how valuable that company is. That is what we call intangible asset. And that is what we call bauddhik sampada. And that is what is taking the startups and entrepreneurs much ahead than other people. That message has to go to the startups or any new entrepreneur or any existing entrepreneur. You go on investing in innovations, have a good innovation, convert into an intellectual property, protect under intellectual property right, and connect with the market. That is the basic thing I want to give. Nothing more about the Bharat. Okay, next. Thank you. Pick up the one. The right and the left. Okay. The theme is right. We want to have a better future. We need to rely on youth. Don't go by my white hair. I am very young. And that is why I say, young at mind and young at heart. Omkar has been so nice to invite me and take us in the theme of youth. In the theme of youth, somebody is 10 days back we went to Mumbai and there was a stand-up comedy, Atul Khatri. And I don't know, Atul Khatri, I never knew he is a known person. And Atul Khatri is a 54 years person, very, very well-known person. He is a white hair, fortunately. And he spent 10 minutes to although he is not that young. He said, I am old man out in the fraternity of stand-up comedian, but he was well, he was good, and he gave me a lot of confidence. But once again, okay. So young at mind and heart, because innovation is a state of mind, by the way. There are startups in Ahmedabad who are much older than what normally we call young people, about 35, and they are doing well. But yes, youth is youth, no doubt about it. That you don't carry the baggage of past, and that makes a difference. Okay. So this is the thing. And why we are about circumstance? We know it's a competitive world, and in a competitive world, everybody is racing. But everybody is racing not necessarily with the right kind of reason. Some people are racing because somebody ahead is racing. Just like it is over here. So पीछे वाले जो चार लोग हैं उन्होंने ब्रेन की जगह पूरा फिट किया है. They don't know why they are racing. अब क्यों दौड़ रहे हैं? फिर आगे वाला दौड़ रहा है. Now that is not the way to get a competitive edge. Innovation is the key, my dear friend. If you want to be a competitive, this is also innovation. Of course, as you know very well. I don't know. बाहर खापड़ा दले में रखा नहीं कि हम प्रजा रखा हुआ तो मना खबर नहीं. KFC Kentucky Fried Chicken. I saw it earlier also, but I like it. Kentucky Fried Chicken. When it was established some years back in Ahmedabad, it failed because we in Gujarat and Ahmedabad are strictly vegetarian. इतना कम से कम ऐसे बता तो है एकदम वेजिटेरियन है. किसी को चिकन खाना तो पिछले बारह से बारह नहीं, पिछले डोर से जाना पड़ता है. अगर कोई देख ले तो आंटी आपका लड़का चिकन खाने गया है. अच्छा, घराना तो मैं चिकन निकाल दूंगी. But KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken didn't know that we need to give a back door. They failed. मैं इतना स्टोरी बता रहा हूँ. So somebody like us say कि आपका खुद का KFC बना देता है, खमन पापड़ा थोड़ा पड़ी. And पापड़ा is, you know, we all know. पापड़ा is like our राष्ट्रीय खुराक, राष्ट्रीय फूड है, नेशनल फूड. उसमें इतना ऑयल भरा है, इतना अरब देश में भी नहीं है. And people go for low garden and Parimal garden, take a walk. कितना हुआ? 7-10 हो गए ना? चलो बाहर आपड़ा खाते हैं. We cannot, we have to cover the loss. Anyway, तो innovation तो बोला, innovation of all kinds required. Innovation in product, innovation in product packaging, in a manufacturing process, technology इसको बोलते हैं, market strategy, management style. Innovation there is no, it doesn't stop at. Innovation cannot be kind of celebration पकवाड़ा, हिंदी भाषी पकवाड़ा, a week to celebrate राजभाषा. ऐसा innovation नहीं होता है. Innovation is forever. It's a philosophy. It's a management philosophy. This is the innovation which I elaborate. Innovation leading to what we call IP creation. An innovation which is viable, an innovation which is desirable, an innovation which is feasible. जो भी हम innovation करें, it should be relevant to the business, to the industry and the society. And जो innovation आप बोल रहे हैं, it should be feasible to make it, to execute it. And when you come out with the innovation, that creates what we call intellectual property. Because it is a state of mind. Whether it's an industry innovation, whether it's a literary work, whether it's a research work, whether it's a Seymour logo designs. And that's what I was talking about. That creates what we call intangible asset. We know it is there, but we can't feel it. But that is what is carrying the world ahead. And as a symbolic thing, if you see over a period of time, in a country like USA, the percentage of intangible assets goes up and up. So, okay, as an innovator, you have done the innovation. Now what? You start discussing, demonstrating your innovation with the existing potential customers. Announce to the world about your innovation. क्योंकि पता चला यार देखो मैंने क्या innovation किया है, देखो मैं इंटरव्यू देते थे, डेमोन्स्ट्रेशन करते हैं. People do that. People are so happy. People are so enthusiastic. And you believe no one will copy your innovation? Now, this is why I am telling you, we all face, I have faced so many people like students and faculty and young innovators and researchers. They don't have the basic idea about what is IP and why they should preserve it till the time you file the patent. And they should want to keep on trying. You believe no one will copy innovation? Forget about it. There are people like me who are ready to copy it. So, what do you do? In the word of Sherlock Holmes, एक जमाने का से थे, Sherlock Holmes, simplify your question. Get protection through patent and idea. As simple as that. पर ये इतना simple, सालों से हम बोलते रहे हैं. एक रीजन सेमिनार में बैठे थे.
Then the first speaker said, okay, we need to develop the culture of IPR in the country. 10 साल से हम यही बोल रहे हैं. 10 साल पहले ये बोलते हैं कि we need to, but what we are doing, what market is doing, is a grassroots work. We will keep on doing this, let me tell you. We will keep on doing this time till the time the culture really sets in. Intellectual property rights confirms the right of ownership and adds value. That is why we have to do that. Because at the end of the day, in a journey and also entrepreneurship, it has to create value in the marketplace. Somebody like Prasad or somebody the panelists who know. You do innovation, but does it create a value? The moment it creates a value in the marketplace, people go for it. Because yeah, this is what we are looking for. And just give a small example. A Pickwick. Pickwick is a brand name of a t-shirt in Italy. It is a rebellious looking teenager. It's a symbol, brand name, logo. इसको बोलते हैं. Valuation for startups. An Italian young person, young man, buys unmarked, जिसको बोलते हैं generic, unmarked t-shirts from manufacturers of generic clothing. Attaches his trademark, Pickwick, which is a pictures a rebellious looking teenager, and begins to sell them to the retail stores in Italy, Rome particularly. He started in a garage in the periphery of the Rome. Everybody started this business. Nobody bothers to having a right kind of office also. Today, the Pickwick trademark is an IPR, by the way. Trademark is perceived by Italian teenagers as a synonym of style. It is a what item? And they started exporting throughout Europe. Europe, is a small continent. You can easily export from the American countries. Its trademark or brand is the most valuable asset. A simple thing is trademark. It carries a lot of value. I always tell any startup who come to me, सबसे पहले अपना वेबसाइट बना दो and create a logo, register the trademark and announce yourself through your logo only. People are going to remember your logo. Immediately they will strike a notice. So that is why IPR is a strategic tool for startups, youth, enterprise. Consider it is a part of the business model. And this is the IP management we suggest. Create, protect, and go for the market. Create what? Property. So innovation. Protect the whatever forms of IPR. And that will lead to your market connect. It makes it so easy. And innovation doesn't have to be rocket science. Small innovations with value addition. And my dear friend, please use technology. And that is where the youth and startups come. Yes, they don't have memory. Then ये technology क्या अब इतना सालों से कर रहे हैं, forget about it. Artificial intelligence is here to stay. And we are going to be part of what we call artificial intelligence, Internet of the Things, 3D printing and whatnot. And ऐसा नहीं क्या आ रहा है, it is already there. You see, 3D printing is everywhere. Recently we are discussing with somebody and we say you go for 3D. I was discussing with Gujarat Innovation Center and that startup, they are manufacturing the silicone mask, silicone covering for the artificial limbs. They are already there in Baroda. They say you have to expand and do much more. And we are looking for dies and molds. I say utilize 3D printing. You can have hundreds and hundreds of dies and molds. Utilize 3D printing. It is there for you. This is the technology. And this is a great tool for innovation and creativity. And for that I say, be smart. As a startup, create IP in a smart manner. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timeless. As simple as that. This A will be for ambitious also. Yes, we can be ambitious, but let be ambitious later on. First attain something and then become ambitious. Just give a couple of examples. Smart innovations. This is Naso B12 or Naso Max. A product by Toyota Pharmaceutical. We all know Toyota. We all know Ketan Patel. Innovator par excellence. My friend, I am also director of the Toyota. And then decide upon. Toyota is a friendly, medium-sized company. His turnover could be 2,000 crore. But companies with 20,000 crore, they look when Toyota is coming with a new product and it is going to disturb the market. You know what he did? Some of the vitamin meter deficiency is there in product. We have to take injections, the tablets and capsules take a lot of time. He has come out with a nasal spray, intranasal spray. It is for US patent also, by the way. It's a very path-breaking innovation. You have measured doses and within 1 week's time your vitamin D efficiency is a new drug delivery system, a new kind of application system. Rocket science, but somebody has thought about it. Another, we know Dr. Rina Bokhari. This lipstick is not ordinary lipstick, by the way. Actually, the company name is Active. This lipstick is fortified with hemoglobin, iron, and all this content. Any world over, ladies, girls are anything. Hemoglobin level is low. This lipstick, while being a cosmetic tool, is a nanotechnology based, patent approved, gives you a dose of vitamin B12 when you apply it. It has got several awards in Gujarat. Simple innovation, somebody has thought about it. My point is that let us be smart. Don't try to go for a new molecule which you might not do. So that is the creation, then go for protection. Which many times people forget. People don't protect under patent, don't protect under design registration. It is simply lying unattended and somebody gets. IPR plays a pivotal role in facilitating the process of taking innovation to the marketplace. Once you file the patent, you can exhibit work, you can demonstrate. If you see the expos and exhibitions, you see so many new products with a patent applied for, patent pending, numbers so. I tell people can simply file the patent, then it can start protection. But without filing the patent, you announce to the world, it doesn't help. You are exposing yourself. And filing patent for any other idea is not difficult at all. Organizations like SKHR companies there, and it is everything is online, by the way. Everything is online. India is we are fortunate that we can file patent 24/7, 365 days. Everything is online. There is no excuse for anybody, by the way, not to file patent or design. Mentorship is available, professional education is available, financial help is available. Government of Gujarat is giving 75% back for whatever cost you do incur for filing a patent from Gujarat. Prashant has taken so many subsidies, right? Yeah. 75% you get back. Now, ये बोलते कि 25% को मेरे को देना पड़ेगा. अभी try कर रहे हैं. But then you are not try to invest something you are wrong. But you can't have any excuse. 12 बजे नहीं चलेगा, मेरे को कोई बताएगा नहीं, mentorship नहीं मिलेगा, guidance नहीं मिलेगा, पैसा नहीं मिलेगा. Go for IPR protection, and that will lead you to what we call market connect. What is market connect? आपका innovation जो industry को दिया, industry को मालूम नहीं है. You show them. Prepare a dossier of such innovations. Network with the relevant industry. Display the exhibition everything. Once you file the patent, you can do everything, and then people will know, oh yeah, this is something we wanted to do it. I know, long years back, we filed a patent for LM College of Pharmacy. Long years back, Pharmacy College was not ready to believe that we convinced them कि आप patent file करो. इतना consensus फीस लिया राजेश भाई ने, फिर भी अहमदाबाद मेडिकल सोसाइटी का ट्रस्टी का फोन आया था, मुझसे बोल रहा हूँ, ये पेटेंट क्यों फाइल करना पड़ेगा? इतना पैसा समझा रहा हूँ, जाके समझा है. मैं कहा ठीक है, चलो आप बता दें, आप इसको तो करते हैं. That is very nice of you. But the point is that once we file a patent, within 2-3 months time, patent file ही किया. Dr. Mukesh Goel, Dr. is no one now. से Palvin भाई, he was the professor when I was studying in pharmacy. आपने जो पेटेंट फाइल किया, आपने जो पेटेंट फाइल किया, इसके लिए ऑफर आया, अच्छा ऑफर आया, और द लार्जेस्ट फार्मा कंपनी का ऑफर आया. एंड इट वाज वेरी गुड. क्या करना है? इसका वेट डालो. अरे पेटेंट कैन बी सोल्ड एंड व्हाट बाय द वे. अरे पत्रिका भाई पहला पेटेंट आपने फाइल किया हुआ है, कैसे बेच सकते हैं? आज की तारीख में प्रिंसिपल की चेंबर में तख्ती है. फर्स्ट पेटेंट फाइल बाय एलएन कॉलेज फार्मेसी, सिर्फ तख्ती है. तो डॉक्टर साबरिया बैठे हैं, डॉक्टर दिखाई देती है. Then second, third patent filed by us again. Help of Dr. Rajesh bhai. Again Dr. Mukesh Goyal, Kelipur. प्रदीप भाई, this time भी ऑफर आया है दूसरी कंपनी का, ये भी अच्छा ऑफर है. कहते टाइम मैंने उनको, आप क्या करेंगे? वेट करो. That patent was sold, put money on. 2 laboratories and workshops were renovated because of that timing. बोर्ड भी लगाया फार्मेसी कॉलेज ने कि this money has been generated from the patent developed by us, sold by us. उसमें मेरा नाम नहीं लिखा था, चलता है. But the point is that नहीं लगता ही नहीं थी. मैंने पूछा था, I straight away know. This person is there. And that is the market correct. I tell industry, many of the industry people are my friends. We talk regularly. आप लोग पुश करते हैं, बेचे रहते हैं. They are complacent. बराबर चल रहा है, स्टेटस को बचा रहा है. पर अगर उनको जाके कोई प्लेटर पर देंगे, सर, you want this, you want this one. हाँ, तो अच्छा है. अभी तक बड़े मालूम नहीं जाता, मालूम नहीं वो बाहर नहीं निकलते आप. So startups, entrepreneurs, young people, students, forget about कि जो आपके पास नहीं आ रहा है. You go to them. Go to them. Prepare a good dossier. Attract them. Keep on going to them. That is going to strike the deal. They want, but they want better. Okay. Because ultimately, ये बहुत बड़ी वजह से छोटी बड़ी तो निकल जाती है. If some company has got 1,000 patents, do you think that it is worth 1,000 patents? Forget about it. They buy patent. They buy patent from whom? They collaborate with whom? Startups, young entrepreneurs, researchers, academics. Why they buy the patent? They want to create a pool of patents of the related field. And there are enough avenues for commercialization. You can license your IP, you can sell outright, you can manufacture yourself, or you can do it like that. Once you have created an IP, once you have protected under patent, this opens up the entire thing. And India, and particularly Gujarat, has an excellent ecosystem of helping startups. I love it's a Hiran Manyan. He basically there. I am the government of Gujarat again. I am also mentoring them, but it runs in a professional manner. They have come out with a mind about 1.5 years. They mind to market portals. Mind is there. The market is not there. They help you taking up to the market. The first requirement is that you should have 5 people. And they have got enough verticals. Textiles, electric carpets, ceramics, food processing, pharmaceuticals, medical devices. There are several verticals. So again, there is no excuse. Some ecosystem is there, they from them. But for that you have to create a relevant intellectual property, protect it, and then go to it. Okay, let's conclude. It gives you external ownership. Why we are talking about IP and use and IP and startup? What is the perspective for a startup? Value addition creation, market image, everything leads to what is called strategic business plan. I tell you, if this is a young startup is there, agar you do correspondence with the outside India, right? 3 patents acquired, or 4, 5 patents filed. Let me tell you, there is immediate attraction from the outside. They know Indian patents are not available just like that. Indian patents are strong patents. And it attracts, and I have actually realized myself, that it attracts the attention of the outside overseas buyer, overseas business people. And that what requires joint venture, academic industry collaboration. Normally the research takes place in the academicians. Industry moves in a certain stage. Patent can be joint, rewards can be shared, and what we call research to revenue or Saraswati University. From goddess of knowledge to the goddess of wealth. We have to talk about this. Things are happening, but this should move much faster. And there are enough opportunities for startups by creating an IP. E-commerce, artificial intelligence. WIPO is encouraging artificial intelligence based innovations like anything nowadays. Recently, I was in a panel with a WIPO or a very senior person of WIPO. He said that we are trying to do everything. There are issues in artificial intelligence IP protection, but we are trying to resolve everything. Government of Gujarat, Government of India under Niti Aayog, Planning Commission has set aside huge funds for innovation multi-billion-dollar industries which is looking for more and more intellectual property. Sports, you pick up any sport, is 100% dominated by the IP. The logos and trademarks and copyrights and designs and including patents. Film industry, lot of do think about it. That is why I say manufacturing to high. Look for the other segments as a startup, as a youth, create IP and invest. And I also suggest strongly to the youth and startups. While you do all these things, also please contribute to the society, please contribute to the country where you are living. Do socio-economic innovation and IP is the socio-economic impact. Healthcare, education. We have seen how it has helped us in pandemic times. Innovations in healthcare and education. Okay. Agriculture, ease of doing business, general business. And let me tell you, when you do innovation in this field, doesn't mean you are not going to earn money. You are going to earn money. That is your right. It is the right of a startup and entrepreneur or anybody who gives money. You will earn the money, but you will also contribute to the social growth. It is called inclusive innovation. You are covering everything. This is my strong message, right? And that is why you need to invest in innovation. Invest not only money, invest yourself as a young person and as a startup. And for that, you need to have that kind of mindset. And Honorable Prime Minister says, mind is never a problem. It is a mindset. And that again applies to the youth. You don't come with a fixed mindset. Somebody like me have a fixed mindset. नहीं मेरा पैसा ऐसा ही करता था, मेरा ऐसा ही करता था, ऐसा क्यों करूँ? Youth, assumedly, will not have that kind of fixed mindset, and that is will lead to creation of IP and creation of the assets which are going to help them for the way. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, sir, for an insightful presentation. Now, I would like to request our next speaker, Mr. Omkar Acharya, Executive Director of HK Acharya and Company. He is a renowned trademark attorney and a member at Bar Council of Gujarat. Academically, Mr. Acharya owns a bachelor degree in science from St. Xavier's College and a master's in science in biotechnology and bioinformatics and a bachelor degree in law from Gujarat University. Mr. Acharya is the key management leader and is responsible for overseeing the administration's programs and strategic plan of the company. He is an influential manager with the ability to lead and motivate by possessing great communication skills and takes a holistic approach in managing the company's domestic and international operations. Being an executive director of HK Acharya and Company, Mr. Acharya creates a complete strategic plan for the attainment of goals and objectives for efficient services of the client. He is also a member of well-known IP associations and is also a corporate member of the United States India Importers Council. So now I request him to present his views with us.
Good morning, everyone. So, IP and youth, the theme for this seminar. WIPO basically decides different themes every year. 2 years ago it was into music, last year it was women and IP, this year IP and youth. Before I start my presentation, I wanted to say that I feel sandwiched between two veterans, Jatan Sessions and two experts in their own fields. एनी बच्चे एक भारत में मुख्य लीडर हैं. That is what I feel. So I really want to thank Patyan uncle and Prashant for accepting the invitation. Though Patyan uncle साथ तुम्हारा हक से कि मैं कैसे last moment पर भी करता हूँ. So I want to thank for that, and I'm also looking forward for the panel discussion, which is going to be really interesting. That is, I would think, really interesting session. So yeah. World IP Day, IP and Day. before we dwell into what the theme is, let us understand what is WIPO. WIPO is an international organization or World Intellectual Property Organization. So it is a global forum for intellectual property services, policy, information and cooperation agency of United Nations with 192 countries. India is a member since 1975. The theme, IP and youth, innovating for a better future. Why do we say that only the youth is innovating for a better future? What I personally feel is the youth is basically the future of the country. Any country you say. India being such a highly populated country, and the youth below 40 years, the population is more than 80%. So what I feel, the economy of that country would purely depend on the youth, not only due to the workforce, but the variety, you can say the intelligence that every one of us has. That percentage, the ratio in that country is, and nowadays I can say that the economy is much more knowledge based rather than revenue. So yeah, let us see what WIPO has to say regarding the world IPT.
This year, young people are at the center of World Intellectual Property Day. With almost half the world's population under the age of 30, young people are in a position to impact the world in a big way. When you think about it, intellectual property is everywhere. It's in the music you listen to, it's in the books you read, it's even in your mind. Yes, when you find yourself asking what if questions, you're already on your way to your next big idea. And the good news is, we have a solid global intellectual property system to help you kickstart your innovation journey.
So as she rightly said, it's in your mind. So I always say this in all my presentations. IPR is not intellectual property rights. I is for the investment that you do in your intellectual. P is protecting your property. And R stands for the revenue that you generate out of your rights. So for businessmen, it should not be an intellectual property right, but invest, protect and returns. This is what I would like to redefine IPR in terms. Let us go to the history of young innovators, what they have done. So, after losing eyesight at 3, Louis Braille, at the age of 15, in 1824, more than 200 years now, invented raised series of dots consisting of code of 63 characters. And now that form of writing, that is called Braille, is now universally accepted. This was at the age of 15. Another example I would like to give is of 1865, wherein Louis Howard Latimer was master of pattern drawings at the age of 16, and by 26 he patented an improved toilet system for railroad cars. So you can imagine what age and what innovations used to take place and are taking place these days. In 1905, Frank Epperson at 11 accidentally developed method for preparing popsicles, applied for patent in 1923. So even the accidents can be useful for your innovations. Robert Patch patented his toy truck design in early childhood by help of his father, as design was knowledge. That was the past. Talking about the present. We are very lucky in a way. I don't see that we have challenges, but we have opportunities. In the earlier age, there was no internet. You did not have that global access so easily what we have as of today. If we are planning to open up any business, the best platform that you would go forward is e-commerce. The best platform to market your product would be online. The cheapest but the fastest, which was not possible in the previous years. But now, due to the technology, you can say, the global access has become so easy for all of us that it is very much mandatory to have your innovations, your intellectual property protected very wisely. Otherwise, what will happen is what we feel is we are being dominated by the Western culture. The reason being, they protect their IP, they protect their trademarks, patents, designs, અને પછી આપણને એ લોકો લાઇસન્સ આપે છે or they do a technology transfer. Why not from our side? Why do we limit ourselves to German technology? Why do we limit ourselves to Japanese technology? We have so much innovation taking place in India. No doubt, we are bringing machineries, the technologies from different countries, but we are modifying those machines as per our needs. Those modifications can also be patented. And we are not saying that export those machines to different countries because that is a humongous task. But what we can do is protect that and just transfer the technology. Let only the technology be given out to different countries. It's not necessary to have your own manufacturing plant. You can just transfer the technology on papers. You can get revenue royalties very easily out of it. So, the present day youth, I think young people are stepping up to innovation challenges using their ingenuity. We are curious, imaginative, and creative to steer a course towards a better future. So, India has steadily risen in the Global Innovation Index to 48 rank, and IP plays a vital role in that. And as I said, 80% of the citizens are below the age of 44. So, I think with that much amount of youth being present in the country, the patents and trademarks that are being filed as of now are very less as compared to what US, China, Japan they are filing. Japan being a country which is very small, but so much innovation is taking place there. So many different brands are involved. Let us try to develop a culture in our firm, in our organization. Let us educate them that anything new that is happening within the company, those things can help the company at a much faster pace. It will be like a cherry on the cake. This is a small drawback that the organizations have, that we are aware what is IP. But when it comes to the R&D department or the marketing department in our organization, they are not very clear about all these things. So many different things already happen. I mean, they are already to the market. And then we realize, oh no, aap to रहेगी तो आप है, patent करावाना रहेगी, design करावाना रहेगी. So educating them also is as much important as educating yourself. So there are two broad steps India is working on. So firstly, it's inspire innovation within students. Secondly, enable and implement innovation from students by developing an ecosystem by way of various bodies and organizations. There are international organizations, especially for universities, wherein the universities do all the innovation, and that organization helps them find industry to sell their technology. Because universities are not so heavily funded like the MNCs in India. So MNCs support in a way. So we need to get such associations into India. There are several universities in Gujarat itself. I am not talking about India. I think more than 100 universities are there as of now in Gujarat. So having an IP cell there, having and educating the students. I can say that if there are research scholars, it's compulsion for them to have a patent. But what after that? There should be an IP system like even if the student leaves after his scholarship, he can get revenue for his patent if it is being sold to some MNC. That will help the students not only to do their business, but when they see the revenue part, they will be more inclined to help with the research. Next, let's talk about you can say what Mark Patent is doing. And I would like to very proudly say that we are one of the earliest organizations in the state of Gujarat for creating awareness, developing ecosystems to benefit innovators, collaborating with various government and non-government organizations. Just in the morning before the seminar, I was talking to Palmin Uncle and Sarju regarding my father and Palmin Uncle has sown the seeds for a mango tree. And what I am doing as of now is enjoying the fruits. So this is a hard work done by the veterans. Still, the awareness is not at par. We just file around 50 to 60,000 patents every year, 3 lakh trademarks every year. And for designs, I guess, can we correct me if I'm wrong, 40,000 designs every year. So that is something we need to concentrate on. We need to, I'm not saying karao, but wherever possible, whatever things that you find, at least get a search done, whether it is patentable or not, whether you should go for a design or trademarks. There are so many different things. I don't want to dwell into that because after second session there is much more discussion on that, so I will keep the fun part for that session. So youth of IP in the present days. Few examples. Baiju Ravi, billionaire entrepreneur and most successful startup in India with present valuation of $22 billion. He's just 40. Next, Oyo, Ritesh Agarwal. If anybody knows his age, he's just 26. Ritesh Agarwal has a valuation of his company is $9.6 billion. And what I'm trying to impose by such examples is, do not let such brands, such trademarks get diluted into the market. There are copycats all over the world. They took proactive steps to stop them, and that is how the valuation of that company, not only in terms of their hard work, their the tangible property, but in the intangible way also, they have done you can say humongous work in protecting their IP. Next, Umesh Satya at the age of 30 from Unifor Software Systems invented speech authentication in the information system. Shivani Gupta at 29 has done immense research in the UTI tests. So these are all the examples that I would like to look at how such young entrepreneurs have developed. It's not always luck. So hard work, that also pays. So yeah, as I was saying, a society grows great when old men plant trees in whose shade they should never sit. As I said, the father of my uncle. This is a very old Greek proverb that is proving my lines. That it's all your hard work. And I would like to આપણે બધા જેટલા બી અહીંયા present છે, be this old man. Plant trees for the future. We never knew how internet could have played a role. We are so thankful to all the smartphones that we are using. We are so thankful for the internet that we are using. We are so globally exposed very easily. On this note, I would like to end my presentation, and I wish you all a safe and secure life. Thank you.
Association. Mr. Gandhi has presented papers at various conferences and also been conferred with many awards for his achievements in the engineering field. So now I request him to present his views with us.
Good afternoon, well 15 days. I try to close it by 12:25 so that we are able to really enjoy the panel discussion. I am very thankful to markpatent.org for inviting me to be part of this forum. This makes us younger, and normally what happens is, while I come here to deliver, but ultimately I take back a lot of things, more than what I deliver. That's what my experience is. We go for that. Just a very small brief about our activities. We run partnership firms in micro and small category. My partner Bhagwat Patel and myself, we used to be roommates during our hostel days, and then on the journey is, it's a partnership for life rather than partnership for profit. That's what we run here. We are into various products. I'll not get into very depth of it because that's not the message that I want to deliver today. But what we produce at our place is mainly based on a concept that we will produce better import substitutes, and through all the machineries that are Indian, all the employees, they come from villages, and all the raw materials that come from India. And these things contribute to our exports to about 34 developed nations of the world. That's how our people work. Okay, we are into aerospace, defense, textile, then industrial and general engineering. These are the kind of items that we produce. And while we do so, I would like to share that what exactly we do. You see, whatever we have done, this is all based on the functional need of the customers. Whatever we have been taught is mainly by customers. They provide us their needs. We go into the depth of it several times. We go to the plants where our products are having potential to be used. We spend hours and hours in those plants, and when we come back, then the team sits. We conceive the idea as to how do we satisfy his need, and things happen. And I am coming to a very important word that I want to share today. Many of you might have heard about Blue Ocean strategy. ભૂરો દરિયો, વણ ખેડાયેલો દરિયો. બહુ આનંદ આવે એમાં, ખૂબ મજા આવે. There is also another sea, Red Sea, જ્યાં ખેડાઈ ગયું છે. કેટલાય કોમ્પિટિટર કામ કરી રહ્યા. So you see, today's youth, they enjoy in the blue sea. And how do you create these opportunities of working in the blue sea? What we have done, in our case, this is the concept. It could be different in many other cases, like Omkar was sharing, Boyo, a different concept altogether. What we do is, whatever products we conceive, we make them lighter, stronger, and long lasting. I'll give you very quickly 3 examples. You see, we make aluminium tubes for our defense forces. China ni puri border par, at a distance of 1 kilometer, telescopic mast lagela છે. આપણા રેડિયોમાં એરિયલ હોય, ઇમેજિન the aerial in the radio. અને એ પાઇપો કેવી એકબીજામાં જાય એટલે આટલી નાનકડી થઈ જાય, સાવ નાનકડી. What we did was, we made them very strong and very light. કે જે mountainous terrain હોય એમાં સૈનિક પણ ખભા પર લઈ જાય, ત્યાં લગાડી દે, કેમેરો લાગે, આખી રાત they watch what is happening in Doklam. What happens there? Now a revolution has taken place. એ પહેલા બધું જ import થતું હતું, it was very heavy. Now the country is not buying a single piece of this telescopic tube from outside. Everything from India, including, inclusive growth, Padmin Bhai was talking about. This is something which doesn't give us money, only money. It gives protection to our country. I am coming to second example, where I have not filed a patent also, the second example. We supplied tubes to our space organization, and these tubes, they came with a challenge. They said, "Bache, America no embargo avi gyo, thoda baras pehla." So they came with a challenge that we anyhow want to develop it here. They tried at 48 places, we were 49th. And somehow it happened. અત્યારે 16 વર્ષ થઈ ગયા એ પ્રોડક્ટ આપતા આપતા મંગળયાનમાં પણ ગઈ છે, ચંદ્રયાનમાં પણ ગઈ છે, પણ અને પેટન્ટ પણ નથી મારી એની પાસે. કેમ કે ત્યારે આમના જેવા કોઈએ મને ગાઈડ ના કરી, પાછળથી અમને ગાઈડ કરી કે ભાઈ તું મૂર્ખો છે, કેમ પેટન્ટ એપ્લાય નથી કરતો? મેં કીધું ભાઈ તો ખર્ચો થાય હે ને. That was the mindset. But believe me, એક સેટેલાઇટમાં 3 લાખ રૂપિયાની મારી વસ્તુ જાય અને આપણો કન્ટ્રી મિનિમમ 3 કરોડ રૂપિયા પર સેટેલાઇટ દરેક ખેપથી બચાવે છે. હમણાં એક સેટેલાઇટ 5,500 કિલોગ્રામનો ગયો હતો, આપણે ફ્રાન્સથી છોડ્યો છે, એમાં એમણે 16-17 કરોડ રૂપિયા બચાવ્યા. What you get in return is lot of satisfaction. પૈસાના નીડ્સ તો બધાના સંતોષાઈ ગયા હોય કામ કરતા હોય એટલે, પણ ઇન્ક્લુઝિવ ગ્રોથની જે વાત કરે છે, societal benefits ની વાત કરે છે. Climax of the examples that I want to share with you is a company came to us who are into making artificial limbs. આપણા પગ બનાવે, and they said we want to make it very light. because which comes ચાલો આવી જાઓ હે ને. We said we will not charge any development cost also because it is again very useful. અત્યારે એ કંપની એના બધા જ આર્ટિફિશિયલ લિમ્બમાં વેરી સ્ટ્રોંગ એન્ડ લાઇટ એલ્યુમિનિયમ ટ્યુબ્સ વાપરે છે. બિલીવ મી, શું થતું હશે? સેટેલાઇટમાં તો પાઇપ ભાઈ ઉપર ફરે છે, ચાલો ભૂલી જાઓ હે ને. અહીંયા તો માણસ જિંદગીભર એના મસલ્સને એટલું ઓછું સ્ટ્રેન પડે કે આપણને હૃદયમાં આનંદ થાય કે ચાલો હજારો લોકોના લીવ્સમાં તમે બનાવેલી પાઇપો અત્યારે ફરી રહી છે. એન્ડ ધીસ ઇઝ વોટ વી કોલ ઇનોવેશન. હવે મારે એક મેસેજ જે શેર કરવો છે એ છે કે આને ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યુશનલાઇઝ કઈ રીતે કરવું. સપોઝ ઓમકારભાઈ બહુ સરસ બધા એક્ઝામ્પલ્સ શેર કરતા હતા. 11 વર્ષની ઉંમરે કોઈએ કર્યું, 15 વર્ષની ઉંમરે કર્યું. And many of those examples were accidents. અથવા તો એવા નીડ ઉભા થઈ ગયા કે માણસને એમ થયું કે આવું કરવું. હવેનો ટાઈમ જે આવ્યો છે એમાં those examples were excellent ઓમકારભાઈ. હવેનો ટાઈમ જે આવ્યો છે એમાં suppose you do one innovation, you cannot sit for your life. You see, when you do innovation, when you take IP, you are doing a wonderful thing. You are telling the world that now do still better. You are creating a coexistence where because of IP the others will have to perform further better and better. Then only our life will be still far better. So આગળ જતા રહીએ. We go to slide 11. Lot of things are there, but આપણે અત્યારે થોડો ટાઈમ બી બચાવી લઈએ પેનલ ડિસ્કશન માટે. એમાં મજા આવશે. 11 નંબરની સ્લાઇડ પર જતા. Yeah, we have by now filed about 7 patents. We have received 2 patents, one in India and one in Israel. And you all will be very happy that a small micro unit that we have every year exports 12 container load of material to Israel. You see a reverse flow. Israel is a supplier to the world, but here a small Indian company where all the Karmayogis are from villages. My partner Bhagwat Bhai has trained them, and by now, for past 27-28 years while we are exporting, we have not received a single piece back. You see, this is the youth. એ લોકો બધા 22-24 વર્ષના છોકરાઓને ઝાડ પરથી ઉતારી લાયા, ટ્રેનિંગ કર્યા, અને એ માણસો અમે કઈ નથી કરતા because they do it ultimately. હે ને, કન્ટેનર તો હું જોવાય નથી જતો જ્યારે જાય ત્યારે, but You see, this is the power of Indian youth. અને ગામડાના લોકો આવું કરી શકે તો અત્યારે જે લોકો પાસે સ્ટ્રક્ચર્ડ ફેસિલિટી અવેલેબલ છે, અમે લોકો લોન લઈને ફેક્ટરી બનાવી હતી, હવે ગ્રાન્ટ મળે છે સ્ટાર્ટઅપને, પૈસા પાછા નથી આપવાના એને, તો ઇટ કેન ક્રિએટ વન્ડર્સ. આગળ જતા 15 નંબરની સ્લાઇડ, ધેટ્સ માય લાસ્ટ સ્લાઇડ, સો ધેટ we enjoy further also. Now here I want to share some important things which I feel બહુ સરસ વાત કરી ઓમકાર ભાઈએ કે સાહેબે બધા બીજ વાવ્યા હતા, હે ને? આજે આ સેમિનારમાં પણ બીજ વવાય, અમે લોકો બધા પાણી પાવાનો ટ્રાય કરીએ. I hope after a few years sprout નીકળશે, પ્લાન્ટ થશે, ઝાડ થશે બધી બીજા. અહીંયા હું એક શેર કરવા માંગુ છું. You see, we do not know everything that we work on. Several challenges come up where we require help from the institutions, and we have tied up with several institutions. It is Indian Institute of Management, IIT Gandhinagar, અત્યારે 4 પ્રોજેક્ટ ચાલે છે IIT Gandhinagar. IIT RAM માં એક છોકરા હમણાં એટલી સરસ વસ્તુ બનાવી છે કે હવે હમણાં અમે એને પેટન્ટ ફાઇલ કરવાના છીએ, જોઈન્ટ પેટન્ટ. And several institutions are working. They also enjoy, કેમ કે ત્યાં શું થાય, એના છોકરા કામ કરવા આવે, they find હુંફાળું વાતાવરણ મળી જાય. બહુ મોટા ઓર્ગેનાઇઝેશનમાં જાય તો બધું હાયરાર્કી હોય, સ્ટ્રક્ચર હોય. અહીંયા તો આવે એટલે સીધો કામે લાગી જાય પહેલા દિવસથી, પછી કાંઈ ખબર જ ન પડતી અને આગળ. So this is one approach. Second is building culture in the organization. You see, startups are growing very fast, but when they grow fast, there are two things that they would require. One is building a culture which sustains this tempo of innovation. For that, what we have done is, my partner established an innovation team many years back. જેનું ફૂલ ટાઈમ કામ હોય પ્રોસેસ, પ્રોડક્ટ અને ઇક્વિપમેન્ટ, આ ત્રણમાં સુધારા કર્યા કરવાના. They get a mission for next 3 months. After 3 months, they make a presentation of what they have done. Again, they get a further mission for 3 months. And that continuous journey, you see, organizations in times to come, आज मॉडल अपनावવું એવું કોઈ જરૂરિયાત નથી, દરેક જગ્યાએ જુદી જુદી વ્યવસ્થા હોય. But in times to come, they will have to sustain a culture of innovation, and then only they will remain in blue ocean. What I am trying to say is, when you are in a blue ocean, you get lot of respect of all kinds, whether respect in getting an appointment, respect to your product, respect to your price, to your payment terms, everything. And when you remain in blue ocean for a longer time, you have spare money to invest for further growth of the organization, society and country at large. Next slide. I am coming to the last point now. What we have done is, in addition to establishing an innovation team, we have taken several initiatives to build culture in the organization. Many of our ideas, even for patents, have not come from us, from the owners. No, they have come from Karma Yogis. Because they really work in the field, on the floor. And what we have done is, I have put up 5 of them. I will talk about only 2 of them so that we maintain our today's tempo. Third one is graveyard for negative thoughts. There is a graveyard in our organization. Graveyard na હું cover શબ્દ તો નહીં કહું અહીંયા, પણ this graveyard is for negative thoughts. અમે લોકોએ જ્યારે આને એસ્ટાબ્લિશ કરી ત્યારે 174 જણા, because we are a family of 100, પણ અમારા વેન્ડર્સ ને બધા સપ્લાય ચેન મેમ્બર્સ હોય, બધાએ અંદર ચિઠ્ઠી નાખી દીધી, મારાથી શું નથી કરતું મારી પર્સનલ લાઈફમાં અને મારી બિઝનેસ લાઈફમાં. અમારી સ્લેટ અમે ક્લીન કરી નાખી. અને અત્યારે પણ કોઈ પણ મીટિંગ થાય, કોઈ માણસ કહે કે સાહેબ આ નહીં થાય, એટલે બીજો એક માણસ કહે છે ચિઠ્ઠી નાખી હતી, હે ને, હવે તું ચિઠ્ઠી નાખે તારે જ એક્શન કરવાનું છે. સો ધીસ યુનિક કન્સેપ્ટ is helping us a lot to time and again clean our slate, જે અત્યારના યુગને બહુ ફાયદો છે. એની સ્લેટ પર બહુ લખાયેલું નથી, હે ને? અમારે તો ક્લીન કરવા જવું પડે છે. અને એક બીજો ફર્સ્ટ ઇનિશિયેટિવ, daily exercise, prayer and good sharing. You see, maybe Parveen Bhai talked or Omkar Bhai talked about knowledge management, knowledge society today. How do we manage knowledge in the organization? A very informal process. કેમ કે મારે ત્યાં 100 જણમાંથી 70 જણ પાસે તો કોમ્પ્યુટર છે જ નહીં, અને એકમાં સવારે નથી. કર્મયોગીને ક્યાં કોમ્પ્યુટર આપવાના? એમ તો મશીન પર કામ કરવાનું. બહુ બધું હ્યુમન ઇન્ટરફેસ વાળું એકાદ પેલું હોય ત્યાં એ નાના મોટા કંટ્રોલ આપતો હોય. વોટ વી હેવ ડન ઇઝ દરરોજ સવારે જે લોકેશન પર જ્યાં વેરેવર યુ વર્ક વી ડુ એક્સરસાઇઝ. સો ઘરેનું બેગેજ બધું ભૂલાઈ જાય. વાઈફે કેવી ચા બનાવી હતી, ગયું બહાર. એન્ડ ધેટ કુલિંગ ટાઈમ when one gets, during that we do good news sharing. ઇઝરાયલમાંથી ઓર્ડર આવ્યો છે, જોજે બહુ કડક છે ત્યાં માણસો, સહેજ પણ નહીં ચલાવી દે. એક પીસ ખરાબ હશે તો બધો જ મટીરિયલ પાછો આવશે. સો એવરી કર્મયોગી નોઝ કે બ્રાઝિલમાં શું ચાલે છે, અમેરિકામાં કેવા ઇન્સ્યોરન્સ ક્લેમ નાખે છે, ઈરાનમાં જાય તો ત્યાં આપણે શું તકલીફ પડે, અને નોલેજ મેનેજમેન્ટ બધું જ ત્યાં પૂરું થઈ જાય. એનીવે આઈ એમ રિયલી થેન્કફુલ. આજે જેટલા લોકો અહીંયા પેશન્ટલી આમાંથી કોઈ ઉઠ્યું નથી, આઈ એમ વેરી હેપી, વેરી હેપી. થતું હોય. સો આઈ એમ રિયલી થેન્કફુલ ટુ ઓલ ઓફ યુ ફોર લિસનિંગ મી પેશન્ટલી. થેન્ક યુ.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a thought-provoking presentation and speech. So now, I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Mr. Padmin Bhuj as a gesture of thanks. I further request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Mr. Prashant Gandhi. I once again request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Mr. Omkar Acharya. Thank you very much, sir. The dignitaries on the stage for the panel discussion. Firstly, I would like to call Technical Director of HK Acharya and Company, Ms. Pooja Acharya, CEO and Founder of Brightbody Artificial Intelligence, Mr. Nisar Pandya, President at Wadila Industries Limited, Ms. Pooja Gandhi, Managing Director of Honest International Foods Private Limited, Mr. Abhishek Gupta. cordially welcome you all. So, to welcome Mr. Abhishek Gupta, Managing Director of Honest International Foods Private Limited, may I request Ms. Sejal Shah to greet him with a bouquet of flowers. To welcome Mr. Nisar Pandya, CEO and founder of Drive Artificial Intelligence, may I request Mr. Nitin Patel to greet him with a bouquet of flowers. I would further like to request Ms. Dixita Bhatt to present bouquet of flowers to Ms. Neeja Gandhi, President in Vadila Industries Limited. I would like to invite Ms. Alba Rawal to present flowers to Ms. Pooja Acharya, Executive Director of HK Acharya and Company. So, moving forward, I am very much pleased in welcoming our moderator for this session, Ms. Pooja Acharya, to continue this seminar further. Ms. Pooja Acharya is the Technical Director at HK Acharya and Company. She is a patent and trademarks attorney and also a member of the Bar Council of Gujarat, India, and is also a member of various national and international well-known IP associations. She holds a master degree in biotechnology with a brilliant records, as well as holds a bachelor degree in law from Gujarat University. She participates at all levels on different kind of litigation cases in various courts across the country. With her vast knowledge and acute acumen, she contributes greatly towards all litigation work. Utilizing her extensive knowledge in the terms of technicality, she also manages technical issues relating to IPR region. So now, I request Ms. Acharya to take the stage for the panel discussion.
Thank you so much, Alushi. Very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm truly honored to be sitting here to be a part of this esteemed, a very huge panel before us. So we are celebrating today the World Intellectual Property Day that falls on 26th of April. The theme given by WIPO is IP and youth, and that is why we have invited here the best talents, youth of the city of the state of Gujarat. And hence, I welcome you all to allow me to introduce the panelists today. We have with us Mr. Abhishek Gupta. Mr. Gupta has completed his Bachelor's in Business Administration from Gujarat University. Has got extensive experiences in the fields of business and not just administration, but is having thorough knowledge of legal, administrative and financial activities of the company. Mr. Gupta has been handling the entire international business for Honest Restaurants, a brand, something which is very close to all of us and to whom each and every Ahmedabadi relates to. Mr. Gupta, we welcome you on the panel. Thank you for joining us. Followed by, we have a very young innovator, entrepreneur with us, Mr. Nisar Pandya, who is CEO and founder of Drive AI. Welcome you, sir. Mr. Pandya is the founder and CEO at Drive AI, an artificial intelligence and telematics arm of Rosen. Drive AI was founded in 2018 by Mr. Pandya, later acquired by Rosen Technologies in 2019. Mr. Nisar has an entrepreneur and driving the growth of Drive AI since the inception. He is an engineer entrepreneur and started the product building at Drive with the ideation stage, including market research, early customer adoption, and successfully achieved the product market fit. He has successfully closed funding and acquisition deal with Rosen in 2019. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I am talking only about a year of the expertise and hard work that has been invested in the technology. Mr. Nisar has been driving force for Drive AI and he is scaling up the product and company to the next level. Mr. Nisar is an electronic engineer by education, has previously worked in embedded domain companies. Mr. Nisar holds master's degree in VLSI and embedded systems, having expertise in embedded software, embedded hardware, cloud services, and artificial intelligence. So, please give a huge round of applause and welcome our panelists. And then I am extremely proud to welcome our another panelist, Ms. Nisha Gandhi. Ms. Nisha holds the position of President at International Business at Vadilal Industries Limited, India, engaging successfully in running, managing and creating a brand for Vadilal in over 45 countries and counting. Internationally, under her leadership, Vadilal offers a wide and authentic exotic Indian range of ice creams, frozen food, dairy and bakery products. Many of these products are most dominant in their market space, and many compete with leading global brands on the shelves, orchestrating this complicated and widespread back-end and front-end. From production to the last mile, the store shelves overseas is a task at hand, and she enjoys every bit of it every day. So, beginning in 1907 in India, Vadilal Group has come a long way since its humble inception to be amongst India's leading food and beverage company, voted as India's most trusted brands in the ice cream category, having won over 24 national and international awards. Vadilal forayed into international domain in 2007 by taking its IQF vegetables to the market of USA, UK, Canada, Australia, Europe, Africa and many more places. Also, Vadilal has always been a part of our childhood memories, when our fathers used to take us to have ice creams whenever we got good results. So Vadilal has been a part of everyone's bring up here. So we most welcome you here. So dear audience, this panel we are going to discuss about the experiences, about the ups and downs, about what new this age, this technology, IP and various business aspects has for us. So I'll be posing a few questions which I believe covers most of your queries and inquisitiveness to know from these experts that we are having at panel. So I would like to begin the discussion with Mr. Abhishek Gupta. So Mr. Gupta, we are glad to know that in the shortest time, Honest is able to expand its business globally. So do you think IP had any role to play into this success?
Absolutely. Back in 90s or 80s, when my father and my uncles were trying to register a trademark, the basic thing they got from my grandfather, yeah, paisa kharaab kare, su kare, dhando karo, bhai pav bech, trademark is too much there. And nobody knew IP would become so important in India. And the only reason that we were able to grow is that the family secured the IP at a very earlier stage, and they were proactive. Someone from the family was proactive, and they had the right set of advisors for securing the IP, why it is important, why it is the future. So, without the secured IP, I don't think we would have grown what we have grown so far.
Great. What I believe is, since the earliest day, developing a business, a food restaurant in a particular manner and style of Honest, it is registered as it is in minds of every Ahmedabadi. So I believe it was since inception that the trademark, which is as such, it defines a proper definition of how a trademark can add value to your business, has been established by the Honest chain of restaurants. So that is very commendable, sir. Mr. Pandya, I would like to ask you, you have been successful in building up a startup from the niche. I and our audience is willing to know what motivated you to secure and file your IP in the form of patents, What was your thought before filing a patent application for your startup? Because the general idea that we have is a startup, even the most experienced companies are hesitant to move forward with filing of the IP. So what was your motivation?
So that's right. The resistance is something which is being the force behind not so many people. Yeah. So the first thought is basically if you want to start a startup, if you go for a fundraise, the first question any investor will ask that what is your IP asset? Because when you start with an idea, you don't have anything as an asset. You don't have anything which can actually generate a value. When you have IP which is protected, which ultimately gets that okay, we have something which is authentic, something which is original from you, and you yourself believe in what you are building, and that will ultimately give a lot of value if any investor also comes in. So that is the first requirement of the market, that the startup gets recognized in a way that okay, you have IPs with you. The second part is that whenever you come out, there is always a trademark or a name. So you come out with a name, like we came up with a name for a primary. The thought process behind the name is that we are trying to make an assistant which can help a person who is driving with the power of AI. Now this logo and the name has a meaning to it. Now someday if I don't get the patent or IP right for this particular name, the whole brand value gets away, and maybe they have to find some other name. And this has kind of motivated that okay, you secure the name first, you secure the logo first, which has some meaning, which is a meaning behind the product you are building, and then whatever building technology you are building has to be validated, has to be authenticated, and that ultimately helps in taking the whole company forward with a valuation perspective, with your authenticity, originality, and something which is like innovation. Innovation is always a diluted word with a jugaad. So sometimes we feel like okay, it's a jugaad, it cannot be patented. So like I have been in college, we have a lot of discussions and nobody believes that okay, something what you are doing is patentable. So you have to first come out of that myth that okay, you have to attempt first. So try if it is patentable, if it is not, anyway law will tell you that this is not. But attempting is something which is not not so difficult part of it. The second part what I believe is that in a very early stage entrepreneurs and people who kind of start from college itself, there is resistance in writing the documentation. Because people kind of like okay, you have to write paper, you have to write so much of format, properly sophisticated, arranged manner, and it ultimately is a secondary task for everyone, and that ultimately kills the whole motive behind going with the IP. So that myth has to be broken out so that you can come out with your own original properties, which you can take it ahead whenever you deal with anyone, because you started a startup and you don't deal with big, but when you grow, you have to deal with the giants, and that time these assets will help you to kind of stand by them and deal with them. That helps really a lot, because the competition from China and other market is also so dense that you talk to someone, they will say that okay, how are you different from this? How are you different from something which is so cheaply available in the market, and why are you so expensive? And that's where your originality, authenticity helps you in kind of giving that reason that okay, why we are different. What is differentiating us from something which is easily available on Amazon? So that's why it matters, and this is the thought process we have been going through for building IPs in our company.
Sure. And since you are a patentee yourself, can you just explain in the most simplest words what invention you have applied for patents?
Okay, so we have applied multiple topics right now. So one, we started with a design patent. We built a hardware, we built a design which is a aftermarket product which can go into any vehicle. So the design, we had a design application done for the shape and the overall structure from the outside. So that is one IP secured. The second part is the internal structure of the overall position of the internal components. So that was the second one. Third one we went ahead with is the scoring framework. So we do in telematics domain, we score drivers who are driving based on their cognitive presence and their overall behavioral aspect, which is all whole AI algorithm. So we have recently gone ahead with the provisional patent application for that. And the fourth one we recently submitted for review is the facial recognition system. So facial recognition system which is on the fly. So these are some of the topics we have gone ahead. In our company, we had the target of 12 patents a year. We achieved 3. Recently, we went on to 4. For the next year, again, we are targeting the same. We want to go till 12, 15, because we have so many things which we are innovating in any way possible. Because the itself is a new, ultimately I would say a blue ocean market. So that's why we are thinking that whatever you can secure, whatever even if a thought is there, you should go and have your probability patent done, which ultimately secures your topic, secures your blog. Okay, this is something you can work on for a year, and that makes little thing easier for us as well as for the people who are building on this, inventing this, and working on all these different topics and with the engineering mind. So that's how it helps in building the culture also in the company. That a company respects invention, company respects innovators, and company tries to give them also the credit of innovation they are doing, and that ultimately helps in creating the whole holistic ecosystem to thrive the startup.
Now we are moving on to Ms. Gandhi. Ms. Gandhi is leading one of the well-known and dearly loved brand in Gujarat and worldwide for decades and generations. What do you see that has changed the brand in all these changing times? The way the other generation was handling, the way and the changes that you have adopted yourself in terms of the branding and marketing strategy.
Hi everybody, thank you Pooja for your question, and before I begin I'd like to thank markpatent.org, Omkar and Pooja for having me on this platform. So Vadilal has been a household name for over a century now, and about 2 decades back, brand decided to foray into the overseas market and take the business internationally. Definitely, with generation change, with the risk-taking abilities of the organization also changes. The youth brings in newer waves of enthusiasm, different dimensions, and this is what happened with our business too. So, when I took over the reins, the business was very small, international business. However, we decided to go full force into the business. And at that time, the brand was only registered in a couple of countries. So at that time, like I said, the risk-taking appetite increased, and we decided to go ahead and register ourselves with as many countries we did our business in. So today, whether the country is small or big, we've registered ourselves in that country. The important aspect and decision making was that we go along with our branding activities. We go ahead and bring repeat consumers. We create happy faces. So that is what was important. And not just from an ice cream industry house, a regional brand or a pan-India brand, we decided to foray into different business lines as well. So it was very important that we changed and evolved with the changing time, and at the same time to go full force we secured ourselves. So this is what happened with the brand in the past decade.
I believe this panel is itself a learning experience and an entire book on brandings and IPs. So I'd also like to add, that this sort of gives you an opportunity to establish yourself more as a multinational company, I'd like to say, because when you decide to secure yourself, you take more risk, you try to go more multinational. So that is what happened with us as well. That's really inspiring. Going back to Mr. Gupta. So you have created the biggest and global franchise network. I can say that you're the most successful franchise model in the entire of Gujarat for the restaurant chains Honest. Can you share your experience in keeping these franchise operations as such, and how do you manage these chains with the ultimate goal of to avoid any kind of misuse of your brand?
So, I'd like to tell you, Pooja, that when we expanded globally, we came across with different laws. Franchising is a very regulated business outside India. Unfortunately, as of now, we don't have any laws in India which protects franchising. Everything is covered under contract law. So, contract law, correct me if I'm wrong, was since 1872, and trademark law has been 1999 Trademark Act. It's fairly new, so when it comes to operations, I'll tell you why it's more relevant. Because everything that you create in a business can be copyrighted. Every document, every manual, everything. So we made a habit internationally that any document that we internally create ourselves in order to help the franchise and the operations, this is how your staffing would be copyrighted. Copywriting is not a whole process. Anything you create is copyrighted. You just need to see and take some legal advice on that. In terms of operations, in India, what we face in the absence of really strong remedies in corporate contract law, the breach of contract remedies, the only thing that we have is the trademark and the IP law in order to be enforceable of the company policies to the franchisees or the license holders of honest. Example, someone is running an honest restaurant and we mandate that you only use almond butter in making lollipop. And someone has a different opinion on that. No, I'm going to use some other butter or some different type of almond butter. It is more cheaper. So that's something for us. It's like, no, we're not doing business anymore. So when the push comes to shove, when we have to deal with that kind of a situation where someone is already operating a restaurant and not complying with our manuals, not complying with our mandates that we want to use for certain type of quality or ingredients, first thing we do is stop using our IP, stop using our trademark, stop using our spices, stop using, and that is more enforceable than any other remedy. I mean, more enforceable than doing anything else. So in that way, securing our business, securing this branding, securing and enforcing in India, I'm talking only in India, trademark and IP has been really important in our growth story.
That's so ultimately, even the franchises are aware that they are holding a responsibility of a brand, and they have to maintain that
Absolutely.
brand. That is great. So moving on to our expert entrepreneur, Mr. Pandya. So how do you differentiate yourself from other competitors in the market, since AI is a budding field and there's been new inventions, new companies, startups coming in every day. So how do you differentiate yourself, and do you believe that IP shall take you ahead of the league?
Yeah, definitely. So basically, when we deal with technology, AI, if you search for any topic right now, there are tons of people who have done that. Like recently, we went on for one of the patent and we found that there is another company who has also done similar work. We searched on Google, we did a lot of research, but there was nothing in actual implementation. So what you have to do is that whatever they are implementing, you have to always find certain points that what exactly, how can you improve this particular process or this particular piece of block and flow diagram or anything, whatever you are doing, how can you make it in a little differential way, which can ultimately take you to the next level. So that's first for the securing the IP. The other part is that, again, as I said, when you have the IP, you get the authenticity of your own product. So basically that ultimately makes yourself a little legit, because if you go into the market of electronics, the market is filled with Chinese products. And now all these products look the same, they have all different names, all have same software, all have the same hardware. Only the provider companies are different. So you have to have your own identity created in the whole ecosystem, which is filled with a lot of similar products, and they might not have any IP secure from their side. So basically that differentiates you, and that ultimately tells that, okay, this is the product which is there in India, which is authentic, which is has their own IPs and a lot of different technologies. So basically, I'll give you a simple example that the scoring methodologies. So right now, if you search about the tribal scoring techniques, so there are mobile apps who are doing it. There are GPS trackers who are doing it. Now there are cameras coming in who are doing it. So every score outcome is a very similar thing. The score can be utilized in all different aspects also. Like we have a civil score. So you take a civil score as an example. So civil score is a standard methodology for identifying anyone's repaying capability. So now let's say if I want to measure the drivability of a person, can I create a system which will ultimately take me to a different level that, somebody, if you want in future, let's say if you want to take your driving license, it will say that do you have a driving school? What is a driving school? Are you hireable or not? As a trucker, as a driver? So these kind of things, kind of take you ahead in all the competition, because now you have find your own specific segment and specific uniqueness of the whole, of different solutions, which can, kind of make it ultimately different from the competition.
Basically, what Drive Buddy and you especially are doing is prioritizing and finding out the customized solution to the prospect, the clients, or lead of the market.
Yeah, so basically we have identified what is the requirement of the market, because if you see the automotive market has been evolved from the very basic GPS tracker. So GPS tracker is now mandatory from the government also. Now world has, on the other side, we have seen a lot of autonomous vehicles running in US, Japan, China, Singapore, all these countries are having autonomous vehicles, but India is still somewhere in between. We are trying, the government is enforcing no, and still people are innovating. A lot of autonomous vehicles that are being developed in India itself for the UK, US ecosystem. So basically, India itself is a very complex ecosystem. Like whenever we drive a car, we feel kind of a lot of frustration when certain situation comes up that somebody pops up like immediately into the hard way. So driving on our road, even on this SC highway, is very, very difficult in a traffic situation. So how do you reach to that level where we can even imagine that okay, autonomous vehicles are possible in India? So first of all, we have to identify that how to drive. So we have to identify that okay, these are the good people, these are not so good drivers. So identify what is good about them, what is bad about them, and then building the technology on top of it. So that is what we are doing at Drive AI. That's where we have numerous opportunities to create different IPs and different blocks of IPs, like very small thing to a very bigger, larger picture. So that is what we are doing, and that's where we are making ourselves secure from all the aspects. We identify all the aspects we start working on, and that's where we have been getting our journey.
That's really thoughtful of you. Getting to our next panelist, Ms. Gandhi. So, Varila is now a global brand. And would you like to share your experience into the challenges that you might have faced in the expansion of brand, and in securing and registering your trademarks that benefited you in this journey? And because this would help our fellow audience to learn from your experiences in expansion.
Right, absolutely. So, as I mentioned earlier, when we started off the international business, anyways, years and decades ago, international markets or business were very restricted. They were not grown as much. So the focus was always India. India matlo dhando che, enathi jame sukhi che, khush che, why look outside? So the registrations were not as popular at that time. We had only registered in a couple of countries, the big giant countries where the Indian diaspora was large. So what happened was that when we started off, we said, okay, let us add to the list of our countries, where we think now we can move to step 2. When we started doing that, we said, we have to register ourselves, and there was this incident that happened with us where one of our distributors in the Western country tried to register our brand. So this came as an eye-opener to us, where we thought that if this can be done in a certain country, this is extremely replicable everywhere else, and this is what really happens also. Most of us don't know about this, but a lot of our Indian fellows abroad, they do try and register the brands abroad which are popular here. And for people who've never thought, to move, venture into the Western world. So when this incident happened, we didn't know whether to go ahead with our business in that field, in that country or not. But then we said, no, this cannot happen. We went through several rounds of negotiations, hard discussions, talks, and we were very persistent. And that is when, we were able to successfully, we could overcome this unethical acquisition that, someone was trying to do. And we got our IP back with us. Which was a relief, and then it's always a situation where you don't know, it's a chicken and egg situation. paisa pehla naapko ke paisa pehla kamala. That always happens. Always there. And then when this question was put on board, that we want to register every country that we are in, smaller way, the question was, atla paisa naapka hai? And then एक लोगों नहीं एनी जोड़े नो आना छे पण register करानो आपन register करानो आ खर्चो and then the list always kept going on. So this was the entire thought process. But I think it's important for any company who's really sure of following their dream and passion to go ahead and register their brands, because once you do it, you've safeguarded yourself, you've secured yourself. When we had this presentation from the dignitaries, we learned it's an asset, which is absolutely true. It's one of the intangible assets, and it's important to have it on board with you. Only then you are complete in a sense of a business organization. So yes, this is one of my learnings I'd like to share with everybody.
I'm pretty sure that this is going to be a lesson for all of us, and especially remaining proactive and having knowledge and goal sets of what we are willing to do with our business and where we are willing to proceed ahead. Certainly. So, Mr. Gupta, just one more question here is that how is this franchising and licensing business? How, from your own experience, how do you find is franchising and licensing a better way to proceed ahead, or owning your own setups, your own restaurants is more beneficial for your sector? How do you relate these things?
As far as licensing is concerned, I think licensing more relates to licensing your trademark, just like how you license your flat or property for a certain. It's kind of very thin line between franchising and licensing. Franchising covers the entire setup, the whole how you are going to dress your staff, how you are going to have the menus in the restaurant, how you are going to set up the interiors, benches are supposed to be this way, the POS system. So it's a whole system that you mandate in franchising. Whereas licensing is only about you are licensing your mark to someone and they have to comply with basic terms and conditions of the licensing and pay you a certain fee for your trademark. Going forward, I think in India, franchising is important, and I think government is also looking in that aspect and making franchise laws more stringent, because you go outside India, if you want to give a franchise to someone, you have to give your audited financials for 3 years. There are 21 disclosure items that you have to make about yourself, which I think a lot of startups, a lot of people who expand globally, they don't know. And the liabilities are huge internationally because it is covered under securities law. So you selling a franchise to someone outside India is like you selling a mutual fund to someone. It is as equal as that. So there are supposed to be a lot of disclosures, and so globally, saying globally, it is very important that we expand in franchising. But in India, we have to come up with a mix of licensing with franchising until we have particular set of laws focusing on franchise, like we have in the Western countries.
So I believe in countries abroad, when we are going to franchise, even the franchisor is having a lot of onus on them.
They have obligation. I'll tell you, if I fail under my obligation, even if the franchisee doesn't care and the government finds out, I pay a fine. So and it's very regulated. So you have to register that document with government agencies, and it's very regulated. So just to add something, there are a lot of firms that I see, they prepare a 3-pager, 4-pager licensing arrangement. So a lot of times, no matter what name you put to an agreement, if the core elements of franchising are there, the core elements are you giving a trademark? Are are you telling them, are you mandating everything, how they are going to operate the store, how they are going to operate the system, and are you charging a royalty? It is franchising. No matter you name it, namaste agreement, no matter you name it, license agreement. So those are the core elements of franchising, and a lot of arrangements, I think 90% of arrangements that Indian companies have abroad can be construed as franchising. And if that is done, then the onus of obligation and the disclosures that the franchisor have to make before making that sell is huge. And that is something that everyone should look into.
So I believe India has a long way to go yet to establish the entire franchising law and protocols to follow. So Mr. Pandya, in the first quarter this year, the domestic application for patents has surpassed the international counts. This happened after 11 years in India. Of course, with the patentees and innovators like you. What do you like to say about this, and how do you see the IP awareness growing in India compared to global standard in the terms of not just filing but also respecting and considering IP as a negotiation tool?
So basically, this has gone higher because there are multiple factors. Like I remember when I was in my bachelor's and I'm a student of GTU, and GTU only started a lot of IP related activities, and from my final year only I know that because how the IP works and how it has to be taken care of. So basically the knowledge, because the first blocker for anyone to not go ahead with this, that relay knowledge, that how to do it, and there is no one in the circle, in your vicinity who can actually tell them how to do it. So that's the first blocker that has gone, that is going down. The second part is that a lot of companies where they are getting a lot of funding from foreign countries also, they are creating this culture. Like we have also in our company, we are trying to create a culture of IP where we are educating our employees and we are holding meetings that okay, we need to go for the IP. Whenever you come with something new, just tell us, have the documentation worked out, let's get it reviewed. So that is a policy we have also enclosed. Other part is like, there are other companies, like I'll just give a simple example that I was reading about Samsung. So Samsung has been very ahead in India for IP. Last year they got 1,000 patents registered in India. And from here they are taking it to different nations and other different countries. Like a very simple application I would say is that how to have an Android camera software using AI and taking the best pictures out of it. So that is one of the patents from the Samsung. Samsung is also working on a 6G technology where we are yet to get to the 5G also. So this is where the thought process has gone, and that helps because a lot of foreign money is coming in, a lot of foreign knowledge is coming in, and India on an intellectual level has gone very well ahead right now because lots of startups are coming in, a lot of news around startups and everything. So a lot of inspiration is coming from a Western country, but a lot of innovation has been coming from Indian counterpart, and that is ultimately helping, I believe, for the IT awareness and ultimately making to the level and taking to the level where India also comes to that number. That okay, now we have also a lot of inventions and innovations coming out at the global level.
And this has also been possible because of the active involvement of academic institutions and research organizations like XRF, like GTU, NIRMA, because now the universities are also trying to protect and safeguard and basically to provide the knowledge to the students who are going to be the entrepreneurs and the inventors in the actual company.
Yes, definitely. So a lot of initiatives has been taken from education institute, like we spoke to IT Gandhi, we have been working with a lot of colleges in Pune, where we are getting a lot of interns and we are helping them, if there is an IT field, we can have a joint ownership of those ITs. So we have been working on a lot of different aspects also. Like in the similar line, a lot of activities are being carried out in IISc, IIT, Hyderabad, IIT, Hyderabad. These are the institutions which are well ahead in the IT domain where they work with NVIDIA, we also work with them, we also work on data sharing policy. So there are a lot of activities happening, a lot of events are happening, and a lot of involvement from the students are coming. Like I went to one of the IT presentations where many of their UG students have presented a lot of innovative AI related or deep learning related research, what they were doing, and they were like, we are willing to work with companies who want to use these innovations and inventions when they can commercialize it. On another note, like we are working with ARAI. ARAI is Automotive Regulatory Authority of India, and like any vehicle you drive right now has been certified by ARAI and validated to run on a particular road. So we are working with them, and they are also creating such accelerators and COE where these kind of innovations can be worked out with the colleges as well as with the industry partners. So government has come up with that, whichever topic you are working on, government will fund for that particular topic. So they will, let's say for example, they spend $1 million, and there is industry partner, there is ARAI, you create the IP, whoever is the industrial partner, you can have the IP exclusivity for the duration of 5 years. So you make kind of all your commercial activities, you make money. If you can't do it, then government will take over and kind of find another way. So these are a lot of initiatives which are also happening around, and we are also kind of part of these kind of activities as well. So the overall ecosystem is evolving in this approach and in all these different aspects. So which is, I think, helping to have more awareness as well as taking it to the next step.
That's very informative to know. Now we'll be proceeding with a very quick set of questions from all our expert panelists. All we are going to ask them a question, and maybe you can just revert us back from your own opinion, whether it's a yes or a no from your end. Ms. Andrew, would you like to recommend our audience to secure their IP?
Absolutely. Today's entire discussion is about that. And I'd like to highlight to everybody that in the Western countries, the policies are very different, very stringent. One important policy is that the first right to register and not first right to use. So even if you are a 100-year-old company and you've been using this name for over a century, if you've not registered your brand name first in that country, you still don't get the right to use it. But someone else who's just done it about 5 months ago can use that century-old name. So it's important definitely to understand the dynamics once you decide to go deal internationally, the laws of the land, and follow that. So that's very important.
So Mr. Gupta, what are your thoughts about it? Would you recommend our audience to secure their IPs?
100%. I think it's a very high time that in the modern world, when we think of any business, we think of IP. It should be a ritual. As soon as you think of a new business, you should think of the name, then make a trademark search, file a trademark application, and convert it into a mandate protocol application.
Mr. Pandya, what are your thoughts about it?
Yes, definitely. So, yes, IP has to be secured, and ultimately the world is evolving in a way that you have to have your brand name. Everything now works with the brand name. You see from a mobile cover, like that also has an Apple logo. If you don't have Apple logo, your phone is not original. So that's how the mindset of the people are also evolving in a way that yes, you have to have your own originality, and that has to be secured with IP so that someone cannot use it, and we won't get to see Nokia and Nokia something like that in the future. So that's where IP security is very, very important.
Very nicely said. So Ms. Nandi, was IP helpful in generating business, economically asking?
So I'd like to answer that a little differently. It is not directly beneficial or monetarily beneficial, but indirectly, obviously, it's a most strategic business to do. And it's like, sometimes I also tend to think that why can't it be used? Like you can just, આપણે વારસામાં કેટલી વસ્તુઓ આપણા છોકરાઓને આપતા હોઈએ છે. This is also a heirloom thing, if you have a brand, if you have a business, just keep a vision, and definitely if you've invested in it, it acts as a great monetary reward, not only right now but later as well. So yes.
IP as a heirloom is one of the best takeaways that we are going to have from today's session. Thank you.
I think Omkar also mentioned, that we all sometimes tend to enjoy the fruits of our forefathers, so why not this as well?
Very well said. So, was IP helpful in generating business for you, Mr.?
I would say instead of generating, it is very important. securing the business, because one, you have to be distinct. You have to distinguish yourself as someone or something, what you are doing, why you are doing. So it helps you stand apart. One, and two, it secures the business. So generating is one thing, absolutely, but at the same time, securing is as important as generating.
And Mr. Pandya, would you?
Yeah, definitely. So it also depends on, you know, also look after that who you are working with. So like, you know, a simple example like we work with a lot of Tatas and Mahindras and all this, and these are all big people. And the biggest myth, or I would say a hard reality, is that they always try to fetch something that is not there. And that is a hard reality of India, that you work with Tata Motors, you work with anyone, any OEM. The mentality is that if it is a small startup, 5 people company, what they are doing, give them opportunity for a demo, have the hardware or product for a trial purpose, never pay them, and ultimately kind of snag something okay, yeah, just copy it. So that has happened, and a lot of companies are doing it. So securing IP, helps you in this way, that if I want to now deal with them, if I have IP, I can say that okay, I'll take a royalty on all your cars being sold in my technology. So that's an indirect advantage, but ultimately yes, if you have security, you can talk to that level. Otherwise, you will be eaten by another bigger fish.
So, is IP a good business tool according to you?
IP is one of the most strategic tools. My fellow panelists elaborated on that it is important to secure yourself, important to secure your futures. So, like we plan out all the tactical aspects of the business, we need to plan the strategic aspects of the business, and this is one of the most important ones. So, definitely it's a strategic tool.
So, only apart from a law or getting a registration or certificate, IP is also helping maybe to establish a good business tool, is what we are trying to learn from our panelists. So, Mr. Gupta, how did you find IP as a business tool? How will you rate it?
I think in modern business, again, I'll say IP, more than a tool, it's a foundation, it's a foundation of the empire that you aspire to make. So, more than a tool, it's a very important pillar. When you make a building, you need to have a strong foundation. So, it's a foundation.
It's not a tool, but rather a foundation is what your experience is.
Yeah, definitely. So, another experience I would say is that when you are going for IP, sometimes you build something, you have validated in the market, and you get initial traction also. But when you are actually building it and maturing a product, while going for IP and having a thorough study about what exactly you are going for, that also helps you kind of clarifying and improvising the overall flow, which ultimately helps you also improvise the process, because sometimes it says that when you're writing things, it makes things more clear. So when you're actually going into the depth of what you're building, that helps you in a way that this is something. So it's basically you brainstorm and you get more ideas. So IP, in a way that you are sitting consciously on that particular thing, working on it, you're thinking about it, and that gives you 3 more ideas, and maybe 2, 3 more ideas can be also very good. So this helps in a way that you go into the depth and you generate more ideas, either to improvise that or either to come up with something new.
And now, a suggestion from you in 1 or 2 lines from your success story, which our audience can take away today.
We all are Indians. It is said we all work with a lot of hard work, a lot of passion. We pour our hearts into the business. So when we are using our heart, use the mind also. Act wise, act smart, and just secure yourself. So like you mentioned, it's a pillar. When you plan out a business, when you foresee a business plan, please plan this also as one of your pillars of business.
Thank you so much. Mr. Gupta, what is your suggestion in a line which you would like our audience to take away from your success story?
As far as IP is concerned, I would like to say think and invest before someone else makes you think or forces you to invest. And in terms of investing, it's not only monetary, you can invest yourself, you can invest your time, you can invest thinking, you can invest innovating, but you have to think and invest before someone else makes you or forces you to do so.
Very precisely said.
Yeah, so basically, the suggestion would be that a lot of startups, young people, they start off, they go ahead and they go ahead 2 levels ahead and they still kind of miss the IT part of it. And this is again, my own experience, like the company name, the logo, we just got trademark since we have accepted in 2018. So this is also learning from my side that, I'm just thinking that if I could have lost it, like what I might have to go for a different name, might have to go for a different logo, and where we are already kind of identified or make ourselves kind of visible in the market. That changing all these things kind of create a lot of issues in a way that creating yourself kind of identity. So that's the kind of the first, whenever at an ideation stage, securing that particular idea at a very early stage is very, very important, and that has to be taken care of when we are working on something which is innovative, something which you think is innovative.
So now the forum is open for our panelists also. Should you want to share any extraordinary experience that you have had in terms of your intellectual property, and the forum is also open for our audience. Should you have any particular questions or queries or anything interesting you would like to know from the experts who are in the field themselves?
I would like to state 2 things. Firstly, for Nisarji, there is a movie called Flash of Genius. It's purely based on the things that you said, and it's highly relatable to what you are doing. Ford company had tried to overpower an innovator that was for an automated vehicle, and it's based on a true story. So maybe that is there. And there is you can say,
not a professional question, but a personal question to Vishayji and Vijayji. How are you taking the transition between the 2 generations, as it is a family business? I'm dealing in the same boat, so it might be a learning thing for me. And how are you taking the transition, or how well the company has adopted, or how well, what are things that you had to change in yourself, or maybe you can say resistance from the firm? How are you managing it? So maybe please, if you can guide in a way.
Family business is definitely complex. One has to be very patient. One has to be very persistent in order to like get things done. But at the same time, the problem lies with the mindset, as Gujarat already mentioned. So when I entered the business, I was looking at my father and my uncles more like my uncle and my father. But as the time passed by, if someone asks me who's Vijay Gupta, I would say he's my boss. I work for him. So in family business, it is very important that you give right share to everyone. By saying share, I'm saying recognition in the काम definitely सारे રીતે મળે, and it is manageable. I would say that it's not rocket science. With patience, with unity, it's very manageable.
No, so just sharing my experience, business obviously is business, but family business has the word family attached to it. So when family and business gets together, it's both in a single boat, right? And I would like to put it that we keep talking about women and opportunities and women being equal. However, I'd like to say that the challenges for women are always multifold and one step more. So, but however, if you're dedicated, if you're true to your work, and if you're really doing well for the organization and the betterment of the family, I think the partnership really works. So, you will always find your way.
Also, I just want to add one thing. When you go out in the market, it's very important that, especially when distributors, we have franchisees, we are doing, business all across. Family really helps. The only reason why Honest has been able to succeed so far is because we have almost more than 50 family members in operations, in taking care of different aspects. I'm just taking care of one aspect. We have more than 50 family members. Banya, Badrina, everyone, we all are. So it's a strength that we are. It's a strength. I think it's a strength instead of, especially in a country like India.
So, from my end, I would like to thank all my panelists. Thank you for taking time out for us and for sharing your knowledge, your experience, your challenges with the audience today. And ladies and gentlemen, please give a huge round of applause for the entire Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us here.
Thank you, Mr. Pandya. Thank you, Mr. Gupta, for having us. Ajay, over to you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Acharya, for making this panel discussion so informative. So, as a gesture of thanks, may I request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Mr. Abhishek Gupta. I further request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Mr. Nisal Pandya. I further request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Ms. Meeta Gandhi. I once again request Dr. Rajesh Kumar Acharya to present memento and certificate to Ms. Pooja Acharya.
For the first time, we'll be
and software designs. She has a broad learning of Indian and foreign patent practice and also heads the international division at HK Acharya and Company. So now I request her to deliver a word of thanks.
Good afternoon, beautiful ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to occupy this dais and deliver a vote of thanks. Thanks to the trustees of Mark Patent Ovaji, Dr. Rajesh Acharya, and particularly Mr. Gupta Acharya, for bestowing this honor to me. Mark Patent Ovaji has always been organizing the seminars since last many years to propagate the awareness of IP, and today's event is also the part of that endeavor. Today, on this auspicious day of World IP Day, we had a galaxy of distinguished speakers who enlightened us on how IP and youth could integrate and innovate for a better future. Now, to sum up today's proceeding, I would like to thank Ms. Nilanda Dani, who invited all the guests and welcome all the panelists for building up the theme. I would like to thank Mr. Nilanda Dani. Thank you so much. Now I would like to thank who is the very first speaker of our session, Mr. Parveen Bush. who providing a very enlightened presentation on the importance of IPR and startup presentation. As usual, sir, it is very informative and we enjoyed a lot. Thank you so much. Now I would like to thankful to Mr. Umar Acharya, who is trustee of marketing.org, who is providing a very enriching presentation on this World IT Day. Especially, I totally and I think everyone is agreed with you that youth is the future of any country, Mr. Acharya. Thank you so much. Now I would like to request Mr. Prashant Gandhi, founder and president of Siddhi Group of Companies. Thank you so much, sir. Your presentation is very informative and I sincerely enjoyed your presentation and your speech has encouraged us a lot. Thank you so much, sir. Now I would like to thank all the panelists and moderator. I would like to thank Mr. Abhishek Gupta, Managing Director, Honest International Foods Private Limited, Mr. Nisal Pandya, CEO and Founder, Gujarat, and Ms. Nisha Gandhi, President, Vadilal International Private Limited. The three panelists who steered the panel discussion very well and their views on how youth plays an important role in integrating innovation and IT for a better future. This discussion brought out some vital and startling facts, hitherto mostly unknown, about the youth being a major component in the changing dynamics of world, demographics, and how this equation is going to play a very important role in innovation and IT being a big boost to the economic progress of the nation around the world. Thanks Mr. Gupta, Mr. Pandya and Ms. Gandhi for enriching us with your profound knowledge and experience. I also would like to thankful to Ms. Pooja Acharya for conducting this whole panel discussion in a very beautiful and interesting way. We hereby acknowledge and recognize all the efforts taken by the World IP Intellectual Property Organization, popularly known as WIPO, for giving us this day and being a source of strength for the global IT support all times. We thank the organizer of this event, marketing.org, and of course the whole team of marketing.org who has successfully organized such seminar. I thank the three sponsors, HK Acharya and Company, Vishmazer Eco Private Limited, and Razor Agma Solar Panel Washerman for being continuous support in all endeavors to promote IP in this part of country. Our thanks and gratitude to our co-organizers, Entrepreneurship Development of India, Ahmedabad, Gujarat, Nirma University, ICSI Law School, Hyderabad, Lorena Center for Research and Foundation, Gujarat Technological University and LD College of Engineering for always extending their valuable cooperation. Whenever we have ventured to do something to propagate the awareness of IT, they have immediately come to the forefront to give them unflinching support with no question asked. And last but not least, I will be grossly failing in my duty if I do not appreciate and thank the wonderful audience for having taken time from their busy schedule and meeting into this seminar. Ladies and gentlemen, we assure you all that we will try our best to continue and providing such informative seminars in future. I also would like to thank media and press for covering this whole event. And would like to thank the management and staff of this wonderful hotel for providing such a wonderful ambience and rendering excellent services during the course of seminar. Thank you all of you once again. Stay safe and have a nice day. And we request all of you to join for a sumptuous lunch way down at the foyer area. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. In closing, I wish to express my gratitude to all the attendees, participants and speakers for their full cooperation. It offers me a chance to remember our success in pursuing excellence in the field of intellectual property rights. As there is no such thing as intellectual property right, and on the occasion of World IP Day, let us promise ourselves to be more creative and thoughtful in the things we do, to stand out and be successful in whatever we do. With this, we sum up our session and we are now open for networking and interactive sessions along with the lunch. Thank you so much for your good wishes.